second one, but wanted to actually do a fun one today. Um, talk about movies, but business first. Someone that I'm friends with texted me and said, "Have you known Sherilyn for years?" No, I did not know Sherilyn for years. So I went back into my phone. When I post this,
Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. Corinthians 13:4.
sorry. So we started texting each other September of 2024. I went back into my text to see when it started. So we texted. And then we've only met 4 times. She took me out to lunch once. I took her out to lunch twice. Once at a Mexican restaurant. Granted, the second time, or the first time, she didn't eat. She wanted to go to Sonic to get something to drink. And I offered to buy her lunch, but I bought her drink. So we've only met 4 times. But we haven't known each other for years. We just started texting in September of 2024. And she tried to set me up. The other thing about it is that $457 billion that Smokey says he spent, from what I understand, that's was an attempt to make me out to be an anti-Semite. Because that's a pretty specific number. And Thomas, who I blocked, started emailing me again this morning while he was listening to my live, and told me that this $457 billion is what the United States is supposed to have sent to Israel. So it was just another fucking attempt to try and make me out to be an anti-Semite. That's what that 457. There's no fucking way that dude spent $457 billion with the IRS not knowing anything, no one ever saying anything, and he doesn't have shit now. It's just the stupidest fucking thing, but it was a specific number. I blocked Thomas again for as good as it fucking does, you know? He's able to bypass it somehow. I'm not a technological thing, but he's supposed to be this, I'm just an old, simple composer. Yeah, because that's what simple fucking composers do. It was, again, just another attempt to try and make me out to be an anti-Semite. That's why that $457 billion is such a specific number. No wonder fucking Smokey is friends with Geo now. You know? Who goes on and on. Posts, that's the last post. I don't see their posts anymore. I blocked them. The 3-hour video that Daniel Dowd did of me, I blocked him after that too. I never watched it. I only watched 4 seconds. Long enough to take a screenshot. I don't watch their shit. But with that said, I don't want to deal all day. Hey, Gov, I don't want to deal with all day with these child traffickers. So this one is, I'm doing a live just because I didn't have anything to do. Well, I always have something to do. But I decided let's just have fun with this live. And let's talk about movies. And it wasn't even my idea. It was Gov's idea. I give Gov the credit because we had a conversation and he was just like, we started talking about movies. And so we started, and he said, you know, you should do a live talking about movies. You know, just kind of a relaxed, fun one, not serious. And I decided, you know, today, I think it's the best idea. Let's do that this afternoon. So I will tell you that I don't go to the movie theaters. The last movie I saw in a movie theater was Frozen. And I didn't even want to go see it there. My friend Jeff took me because I was in the throes of a divorce. I was so depressed, I hated the movie. I actually like the movie now. But I hated it then. Then I think before that, I went and saw Lord of the Rings. That's the last series of movies I've seen. You know, Frozen for kids. It had just come out in the movie theater, and a friend of mine wanted to get me out of the house because I was depressed over the divorce and took me there. And I slept through the whole thing because I was so depressed. I didn't give a shit. I was in the throes of a divorce. The last thing I wanted to do was go watch a cartoon. But so, but I do like movies, you know. I like musicals. One of my favorite musicals is Godspell. One of my favorite movies is Godspell. I love kids' movies. I like family movies. You want to know why I like kids' movies? I like family movies because nobody gets murdered, there's no gore, and nobody gets raped. You know, it's just I watched. I've watched both the first Scooby Doo and the second Scooby Doo. You know, Tame Your Dragon. I didn't hear about that. Melissa, if you start telling me how to talk, I'm going to block you. I love How to Train Your Dragon. That is one of the best movies. And you know, I just loved it. I loved How to Train Your Dragon. I don't care, Melissa. Go fuck yourself, you know? Bye bye. I'm not gonna deal with this bullshit in this live. So if you're gonna come here and you're gonna start shit with me, I'm gonna fucking block your stupid ass. I don't want to deal with this afternoon. And because this is my venue, I feel I don't have to. I like the Pitch Perfect movies. I love How to Train Your Dragon. You know, one of the best movies. I loved Your Big Fat Greek Wedding. But you know what? The favorite Big Fat Greek Wedding is the one that didn't do well. The third one. I loved that one. When they went to Greece. Ah, I love that movie. I don't know what it is because it wasn't very well written. I know you're in here, Gub. You better start chiming in. You know, just want to have some light fun. You know, I it took me 3 weeks to get through the Godfather series because I hated it so bad. I hated the Godfather series, and I have seen Bridesmaids, and it is a funny movie. I love comedies. I love comedies, and I think they're fun. You know, Gov keeps talking about Birdman. It's supposed to be an excellent movie. When he talked to me about it, I was just like, "You mean like the dude from Alcatraz?" And he was like, "No, not at all. It wasn't about the dude from Alcatraz because that's the only Birdman I knew about." Godfather is slow and it's intense. I don't like mafia movies, but then I grew up. That's the whole key is that these people weren't just, they were just, my dad fancied himself a mafia dude, you know, had the fedora and everything. I have a fedora, but I don't think I've ever watched it. Michael Keaton is Birdman. I love Michael Keaton. I will say that I liked Beetlejuice better than I liked Beetlejuice, but Beetlejuice was kind of disgusting. That the pedophile that they wouldn't let do the father again, that got eaten by a shark, it was disgusting. I just, I didn't much care. I loved the original Out of Towners. The original Out of Towners. I didn't much care for the one with Steve Martin. And I forget who else was in there, but I like the original Out of Towners. Okay, Gov, you're going to have to explain that. Scenes with multi-minute single shots. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. One of my favorite movies. I love that movie. I loved that movie. But I like cerebral movies. I don't like movies with fart jokes. Even though I do have to say, and it's, you know, I do have to say that I kind of like the Medea movies. I think they're stupid, but I kind of like them. Even though, you know, Jack Lemmon and Sandy Dennis, yeah, that's who, you know, Everything Everywhere All at Once is just like a great movie. I hope I never end up in the dimension where I have hot dogs for fingers, even though it was a very sweet scene. I loved Harold and Maude. I loved, but kind of depressing. Just to warn you guys, there might be spoiler alerts in here. So, you know, there might be spoiler alerts. But all the movies that we're probably going to talk about are all old movies, you know? I think I've seen the movie Being There, but that is really old school. That's 80s, That's 80s. And was, Harold and Maude was just, it's kind of weird because the kid wanted to have a relationship with the old woman and they kind of had a relationship, It's kind of bizarre. When I was a kid, I loved the movie Weird Science. I thought it was great. Being There was 79. I knew it was early 80s. 79. Um, I loved Weird Science, but then I watched it like a few years ago as an adult and didn't like it because it's all about some woman who wants to have sex with 15-year-old boys. It's funny how you like things as a kid and then you watch them as an adult and go, oh my God, what the hell did I just watch? I like Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Doctor Strangelove was pretty strange, you know? Him riding that bomb down like a rodeo horse was funny. I liked E.T. I have a version of E.T. that I got at the dollar store. I haven't seen it since I was a kid, and I haven't watched it yet. The other one is Cocoon. I got a thing that has Cocoon and Cocoon Part 2. Being John Malkovich is an amazing movie. But then I like John Malkovich, you know? I don't know anything about Primer. Gov and I have talked and we have a lot of similarities in movies. I like the extended version. I love Donnie Darko. I loved Donnie Darko. It was an amazing cerebral movie. Interstellar, another movie that was, if you can't understand, see, I didn't care much for The Lobster. I thought it was slow. But I do like Colin Farrell, you know? I loved Interstellar. Um, the Amazing Adventures of Baron von Munchausen. Great movie. Funny movie. Just weird. Has Robin Williams in it. He's only a bit character. He's just in one or two scenes, but it's funny. 13th Floor is good. You know, I like movies, but I like them at home. I hate to go to the movie theater. One of the things that I hated about a movie theater is you go in there and you get this great big thing of popcorn and you get this big thing of pop. So an hour into the movie, I have to pee so bad. But then every time you leave, you miss parts of the movie. That's why I like to watch them at home because you can pause it, go pee, you know? Baron von Munchausen, that's it. I loved Brazil, but it was so depressing. But I love the dude who's in Brazil, Who wants some, I don't like vampires, but I love their decadent visuals. Who wants some old rich dude with bad breath that eats the young? I grew up with that, you know? I'm not a big fan of vampire movies. I'm not a big fan of. And I will say that I don't mind ghost stories and like possession stuff because it's also stupid. I watched The Exorcist for the first time a couple years ago and just didn't get why it was the scariest movie of the time. It was the dumbest thing I'd ever watched in my entire life. You know, I just thought it was stupid, and I was not. Horror movies though are not my genre. You know, I don't much care for horror movies. Don't like slasher movies. We'll watch them every once in a while. When I'm irritated, there's nothing like watching people you don't like on television get slaughtered. Would never do that in real life, but sometimes, you know, a good horror flick. Babe, I loved Groundhog Day. I loved Groundhog Day. I loved Dave. Dave was a good movie. The Congress brought it up, but you know, oh, 1001 Arabian Nights. The books are always so much better. You know, the books are always so much better. Limitless was a good movie, and Lucy was kind of weird, but I've only watched it once. The fact that she turns into the computer program, it was too much like Lawnmower Man for me. You know, I've never seen Predestination. Horror flicks, that's just it. Some of the horror flicks are so stupid. The Shining was great. The book was so much better. Oh my God, the book was so much better. But then Stephen King, thank you for the compliment. Stephen King was, I just don't, my hair is, I've been doing stuff all day. Laundry and all that. And my dryer's broke. I don't have the money to go get it fixed. Thank God I have a clothesline outside so I can hang up my clothes. You know, the turning digital in Lucy, that's what I didn't like about it. I've never seen they clone Tyrone. Sounds good though. You know, Sophia, the Shining, I actually didn't mind Doctor Sleep either. I haven't read the book. I stopped reading Stephen King. I stopped reading Stephen King after it. It was an incredible book, except for the last 100 pages. I think that he ran out of time and had to have the stupid. When it when the clown became a spider that they killed with asthma spray, I was so mad at the end of that book that I threw it across the room and broke the spine because I was so mad because it was such a good book. It was really a good book, and I never read another Stephen King book after it. Never did. Sorry to bother you. Full of symbolism. The Dark Backwards. See, some of these movies I haven't heard. I'm gonna have to watch this back again because I'm gonna want to go back and check some of these movies. Perfume, the story of a murder. You know, The Game. It's Gov told me to go watch The Game, and I really liked it. It was a lot like what some of us went through as kids, what they do to us, even as adults, but it had a happy ending. I liked Christine. Christine actually was a good movie as well as a good book. You know, Stephen King used to be amazing. He used to be an amazing writer. The Stand, especially the unabridged, 50 First Dates was wonderful. Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore have really good chemistry. The Wedding Singer was a pretty good movie too. Not as good as 50 First Dates, but it was pretty good too. They have really good chemistry. You know, The Fifth Element was funny because I went with a friend of mine who actually ended up dying of cancer. But we went to The Fifth Element and had absolutely no idea what we were going to see. We just chose a movie out of the nowhere. And The Fifth Element was one of the best movies. It was so much fun. You know, the Wedding Singer soundtrack is amazing. I bet it is because it was a good movie and the music was pretty good too. You know, nope. But Trump did blow Clinton. That's what they're saying, which is funny. You know, which is funny. I'm just going to leave that because it's funny. It's gross. A visual I do not need in my head, but it's funny. I don't want to talk politics because it's just so chaotic anymore. You know, it's just so chaotic. It's just our leaders are really fucked in the head. And it's not just our leaders. I think it's the world's leaders. You know, I've never heard of the other guy, Sarah. You know, and it's political theater. And it is trending on Twitter. It is. I went on Twitter and it's just all over Twitter, and I bet it's on TikTok too. I bet people are just laughing about it on TikTok. You know, Tucker and Dale versus Evil was hilarious. It was hilarious. It's a horror comedy, and it's actually really a horror comedy. You know, it's just that was a really good movie. And that guy that was in Tucker and Dale versus Evil is in an alien television show. I forget what it's called, but it's pretty good too. You know, Ex Machina, is that where the people actually turn into machines? They get their arms get cut off and then they turn into machines. Not my kind of movie. But I will say the Johnny Mnemonic. You know, some of these movies that I'm saying are just going to make me look like I don't have a brain in my head because some of them are just so stupid. But Johnny Mnemonic, Constantine, I loved Keanu Reeves. You know, good guy. I don't think we're going to actually hear all kinds of nasty shit about Keanu Reeves, so I can watch his movies. You know? Oh, develop it. You are going to get me to start talking about stuff that I do not want to talk about right now. Because it's just, I got to take a break from politics. Just like I got to take a break from these fucking child killers. I just got to take a break. And I think I was just sitting around this afternoon and I started thinking about what Gov said. Ex Machina is a billionaire making AI robots in the backwoods until they go bad. Oh, so it's a movie about Elon Musk, is it? Jumper was fun. Jumper was fun. That was a good movie. And you know, the actor that's in there, I think he's okay. I didn't much care for the Star Wars movies. I mean, obviously I was a kid, so I grew up with Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back and all of that, and I loved those. But I the ones that came after that, not so much. But I guess the hype was over. You know, who's Geffen? I don't know who Geffen is. What's your favorite bad guy in a movie? Oh, golly. Hans Gruber in Die Hard. I think he's one of my most favorite. Forrest Gump was okay. Didn't much see the hype. Didn't care for it. Don't much care for Tom Hanks. You know? That's the unfortunate thing. Chocolat, one of my favorite movies. And then I just can't stand to watch Johnny Depp anymore. I can't stand to see anything in him. Same is Kevin Spacey. That movie that Kevin Spacey was in, that the one where they filmed the plastic bag blowing in the wind. That was a really good movie. Won't ever watch it again because I don't want like Kevin Spacey. The other one with Kevin Spacey that I still watch, I don't care, is that Christmas movie. You know, he was in a Christmas movie with that comedian. Hilarious movie. Hilarious movie. You know? My favorite villain was from a French film. I love um I love French I really like foreign films. And to be quite honest, my hearing isn't all that great a lot of times, so I usually have the subtitles on anyway so I can read it. Because sometimes people mumble in those movies and I don't have a clue what they're saying. And so reading a movie, reading subtitles is no big deal. Being John Malkovich is such a good movie. Hitchcock was a good he was a good producer, terrible a human being. You know, terrible human being. Somehow or other I've gotten a fly in here. It doesn't surprise me because sometimes I leave the back door open for the dogs. You know? Enter the Void. That's a good. Do you think Trump spits or swallows? Gross! The whole image is just gross. Bill Clinton is gross. Donald Trump is gross. Gross. I'm sorry. The Fountain was really good. The Fountain was part of Who is John Galt? Wasn't The Fountain part of that whole series? I can't think of the name. But The Fountain was part 2. 13th Floor is a good movie too. I love Dark City. You know? I love Dark City. I loved Blue. I've watched Blue. And I thought it was really, really a lot of fun. You know? There are movie titles that I don't remember. I should have written down because I have a collection. You can go to the Goodwill and actually buy DVDs. Nobody wants DVDs anymore, so you can buy a DVD for 99 cents. And so I buy movies at Goodwill when I go. I mean, it's difficult. The original Suspiria. Did you watch the new Suspiria too? I guess that they're kind of different from each other. And The Fountain is Ayn Rand, so it's not. Well, Ayn Rand is who wrote the movie that I'm thinking of. Ayn Rand is the one who wrote it. Who is John Galt? It was the movie that was a line that I remember. There are certain lines in books. Faulkner. I think it was Sound and the Fury. I hated that book. One chapter was only one sentence. My mother is a fish. What the fuck does that even mean? I just did not like William Faulkner. I just did not much care for him. So I'm throwing in books as well as movies. You know, there's a movie called The Fountain that is not Ayn Rand. That's the movie it's like pretty. The way that they filmed it was amazing. I think I'm thinking of the same movie now. The Fountain was not Ayn Rand. The Fountain, the book was written by Ayn Rand, but there's a movie called The Fountain that's just visually stunning. Across the Universe, I loved Across the Universe, but then I like Beatles songs too, and I like the actors that were in Across the Universe. Mr. Nobody was a great book. What is the weirdest book you can recommend? I'm reading Shadowland right now by Peter Straub. It's an old movie that I've there. This is Spinal Tap is funny. This is Spinal Tap ends up. It was like the precursor to Idiocracy. So, and Idiocracy is unfortunately not a movie. It actually became a documentary of how America was going to end up. But this is Spinal Tap. I didn't mind Ayn Rand. I read her books. You know, I read her books. I read her books. I didn't agree with everything. But then, honestly, when I was in high school, I read Mein Kampf, written by Adolf Hitler. The dude was really smart, but he was really fucked up. You know, his he had logical ideas. It was just I'm not a fan of genocide. So, you know, Emil, but I got to be careful of that because then fucking Gabe Hoffman and Thomas Schoenberger saying, "Oh my God, he read Mein Kampf in high school, so he must be an anti-Semite." No, I just read a lot of shit when I was in high school. To be quite honest, I don't read like I used to because it takes a lot of time. Reading takes a lot of time, and I just don't have the time to. I have so much other shit going on. 12 Monkeys was like COVID. 12 Monkeys was actually a good movie. You know, 12 Monkeys was a good movie. It is just sad what happened to Bruce Willis. He was one of my favorite actors. You know, Brad Pitt was pretty. I liked Brad Pitt in that movie where he plays Death. Um, I can't think of the movie. Anthony Hopkins was in it. Anthony Hopkins is like the main guy, but Brad Pitt plays Death. But then there's other movies. So books, one of strange books that I can recommend. Okay, you want a really good book that is part Stephen King, The Talisman. That's a really good movie. You know, that's a really good movie. Memento was kind of fucked up. Meet Joe Black. Thank you. Thank you. Meet Joe Black. I love that movie. I've watched it several times. It's one of those movies to where, like, when I'm sewing, I just put in the background. You know? Thelma and Louise was pretty good. Wasn't Brad Pitt a bad guy in Thelma and Louise? Wasn't he like a violent dude? But I don't know who Ghost the Hat Man is. The Talisman is a great book. Peter, I think that it was Stephen King and Peter Straub, or was it Dean Koontz? I don't remember which one, but The Talisman was written. One chapter would be written by Stephen King. The other one chapter would be written by I think it was Peter Straub, but it might be Dean Koontz. Then Stephen King. Then it was a really good book. Brad Pitt stole the money. Okay, I haven't seen Thelma and Louise for a long time. The English Patient was beautiful, and the music was amazing. You know, Bad Santa is a good movie. You know, it's funny because that actor has never pissed me off. He's in something now too. He's a good actor. Bad Santa is funny. What is the one that I'm thinking of? The Kevin Spacey movie. I don't remember what movie it is. It's a Christmas movie. I love Christmas movies. And to be just forthright, I watch Hallmark Christmas movies all the time. I like Hallmark Christmas movies. I like Christmas movies. You know, I think they're brainless, but they just feel good. You know, they're just. K-Pax wasn't. I loved K-Pax. Again, it's really sad that I don't like Kevin Spacey anymore, but I loved K-Pax. Love Actually is a really good Christmas movie. You know, Love Actually, I think, is one of my most favorite movies. I think it's one of my favorite movies. The dude that plays the rock star is just, that's just he's a great character, you know? The Ref, thank you. The Ref, that's it. That's it. The Ref was the Christmas movie. I love that movie. But then Dennis, I forget his last name. He's a comedian that's kind of a wise ass. He's hilarious. He's hilarious. And because this one is just for fun, I'm just going to let this go for as long as it goes. Because we're not talking about anything seriously important. And so I'm just going to let it go. This one is just a Sunday fun. one. I don't care how long it goes. But I will say that Thomas has accused me of making 3 and 4 hour videos about him. And I don't think I've, other than when I worked for Ed Operman or I was doing interviews on the Ed Operman channel, then they were 2 hours. But I think I have 1 or 2 videos. They went for like 2.5 hours, but that was because everyone was talking, you know? And we weren't talking about him. The fact that they Daniel Dowd just did a 3 hour one, it's all about me and Thomas. I mean, I don't know that for a fact because I didn't watch it, but the title, you know, I love Bad Santa. I think it's funny. I think all of that outrageous behavior because it was so real. Bad Santa was real. Day After Tomorrow is a good movie too. You know, kind of fucking scary, but excuse my language, but you know, have you ever seen the German tradition on Christmas to watch a terrible English movie? I watch movies all the time, and at Christmas, that's all I do because it's always just me. Christmas is always just me. Christmases were terrible when I was married. I can't remember one good Christmas when I was married. They were horrible. So glad to be divorced. But I haven't seen Black Swan. I hear that it's great. I hear that the Black Swan is wonderful. Intense. About crazy people. You know? A book that you might want to read that is crazy, Whispers. I believe Dean Koontz. It was the best. It was my most favorite book. Cog is actually texting me. I guess Smokey is now running around talking shit about me. He doesn't realize how stupid he sounds when he says that he had $457 billion and he spent it. It was drug money. He made all 457. He had more money than Elon Musk. And I'm just not going to play with it, you know? But that $457 billion, if that's the money that goes to Israel, then I don't feel bad about it. Whispers was the movie sucks, but the book was amazing. Whispers was a good, you know? Yeah, the festivities all have a cult. I don't do a Christmas tree anymore. I have a Christmas tree set up downstairs that has nativity scenes on it, but I don't I keep it up year round because I like the lighting, you know? I I I was watching some movie and there was a gay character in it and they were talking about how they couldn't see their food because they were at a gay person's house. And I don't know if it's that way for everybody, but I'm gay and I love lighting. I have lights, different lights everywhere because sometimes I want it bright, sometimes I don't want it bright, and I like lights, you know? I like lighting. I used to put up Christmas trees. It was a weird, see, 457. Thomas started emailing me. I don't even know how he got past the block because I blocked him all yesterday. But he tells me that I underestimate him because I'm just a mere mortal and I guess he's a god. But was trying to say that 457. So it's my fault that Stormy might be an anti-Semite. How is other people's actions my fault? How am I responsible? How am I supposed to control people? That's not my thing, you know? I am omnipotent. I can't control people. I don't have powers of telekinesis. I can't, you know? People do, but that's their game, you know? Daniel Dowd says I'm working with Thomas. So therefore, I can be discredited because I'm working with Thomas. Thomas Schoenberger says I'm working with Daniel Dowd, and Tara Joyce is his favorite one. And so I can't be, I'm not working with any of them. None of them. They all disgust me. Not to go back on that, but I'm not surprised. And now that I was told that $457 billion is the money that the United States has sent Israel, and now I know it's all connected to Israel and anti-Jewish bullshit. I I'm not interested. And he wasn't a fucking victim. It was a setup from the very fucking beginning. You know? My actions in the whole two is I showed him and Sherilyn the goddamn door. That's what I did. I showed him the door. And I don't regret it even in the least. I don't regret it. Not even in the least. Motherfuckers trying to set me up. Waking life is a good. Yeah, I have strategic bright lamps too, especially in my studios. In my studios, especially over my long arm, I have 4 great big LED lights that you would see in a shop over there. I like a lot of lights sometimes. But then other times, especially if I'm just sitting back and watching a movie or something, I don't mind if it's dark. You know, I've blocked all of them. Thomas can still bypass it, it seems. But then I just take fucking pictures, screenshots of his shit, post it, and I block him all over again. I have not seen The Laugh of Heaven. What's it about, Gov? I just can't deal with it. I have so much shit going on, so much stress, so much stress. I have to come up with $80 for my internet bill, and I don't know how the fuck I'm going to do it. So, anybody who wants to donate, food. Someone, I did get a small donation the other day. You know who you are, and I want to say thank you. And I'm not bitching about it. When I say small, I'm not bitching about it. It's when they're it's just a normal, but they don't usually come in because everyone's broke. That's why the reason why I don't ask for a lot. I went to, proud to be an American patriot is one of them. Go get a fucking job. Well, you want to know what? Why don't you fucking go fuck yourself? I see Daniel Dowd asking for money. I see Tara Joyce. They ask for donations all the time. I don't see anybody. Daniel Dowd lives in his fucking mom's basement. I don't see them going after them all the time. I don't see that. And it's hard for me to leave my house with them making fucking videos of my house burning down and then breaking into my house. It makes it very difficult. It makes it very difficult, and they do it on purpose. They're so fucking focused on everyone else. The reason why Gio has a job is because he fucking drinks like a goddamn fish, which is why he can't own a house. None of them fucking, that's the reason why they hate me so bad. I've made good choices in my life. Good choices. Thomas says, oh, you have bad teeth, so you must do meth. No, but I've been on disability my entire adult life, and it doesn't cover dental. As fucked up as that is, so what am I supposed to do? Just score thousands of dollars to go to the dentist? Can't do it. Fuck, I can't fucking do normal stuff. But they're all focused on me like that. They're all focused on me like that. I have never seen like, comment, and subscribe. Laugh of Heaven. A man can change reality with his thoughts. A psychiatrist figures out, my teeth suck. There's not a fucking thing I can do about it. So I don't worry about it. You know, I've gone to the dentist. I just went to the dentist. I don't have any cavities. My teeth are fine, but they're discolored, and I can't pay for the whitening shit. And they're itty bitty. I have ground my teeth down because I have TMJ so bad, you know, and have ground my teeth down to little nubs. Unfortunately, because I needed braces when I was a kid. When I go to the dentist, I always get told that my teeth and my jaw are the clearest signs of child abuse and child neglect they've ever seen. And I've been told that by several dentists. You know, my teeth went bad from severe depression. I don't get depressed very often anymore. I get tired, but I don't get depressed. Irritable. I'm more irritable than I get depressed. And if I do get depressed, the irritability gets me out of it. Because then I get irritated that I'm depressed and then I go do shit. You know? And I drink a whole lot of coffee and a whole lot of tea. And I used to be a heavy pot smoker. Not so much anymore. Can't afford it. I grind my teeth in my sleep. I've had to go to the dentist and have two molars on the bottom actually fixed. I didn't lose the teeth because there was no cavities or anything, but they had to put fillings back in them because I broke them in half because I grind my teeth so bad. I have post-traumatic stress disorder. I've been disabled with post-traumatic stress disorder. And these fucking dickheads that want to terrorize people, they just say, oh, well, we don't believe it. Oh, really? You know, your expertise with your diploma and your degree, that's what you've come up to? Oh, no, you're just a fucking dumbass that has a motherfucking opinion. And you want to justify your harassment, you know? Sophia, that's how it usually works. She says she's been dealing with narcissists my entire life, but I didn't realize the game they played until I was a lot older. There's several of us in here who have dealt with narcissism really hard. They gaslight, they just do whatever they want. And they're never, never responsible for anything they do. Everything that I said this morning about Thomas, he didn't fucking say one goddamn word about any of it. He just focused on Smokey and his $457 billion that he made as a drug dealer as a kid that the police couldn't figure out and the IRS couldn't figure out. When your teeth go bad, you find out how judgmental the world really is. People don't like ugly people. That's the reason why I'm not viral when I'm talking about child trafficking. Nobody wants to hear from me because I'm ugly. But then pretty people aren't respected. They're just objectified. You know? I ate my teeth, Sarah. She says she has a friend who survived a war, grinds her teeth and said, I ate my teeth. That's exactly what ends up happening. You know? That's what ends up happening. There was a movie with Tom Cruise about a CIA drug runner. Is that weird one where he had the disfigured face? I hear that's a really good movie. I've never watched it. I'm not a big fan of Tom Cruise. He kind of irritates the piss out of me. I don't know what it is about him, but I've never really cared for him. I think he has little man syndrome. I think that's what it is. He's very cocky. I'm not very cocky because I don't have any reason to be cocky. I'm old, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm disabled, I'm poor. You know, I'd be pretty delusional to run around and tell myself that I'm just better than peanut butter. You know, he is such a pick-me girl. He is very cocky and very short. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. It's funny. This is just a good Sunday. This has been a good conversation. You know, This is what I really needed. I just wanted to come in here and just eternal sunshine of the spotless mind. Great. I love Jim Carrey. I love Jim Carrey. The only one that I didn't like of Jim Carrey was I didn't much care for the number 13 or something. I don't have a clue who that is. All right. Not who I thought it was. I'm picturing him jumping on Oprah's couch. I'm not a big fan of Scientology. But then, even though I got baptized Mormon, I wasn't a fan of Mormonism either. Logan, because I'm not going to use his last name, even though when I got baptized, you have to use them by brother and their last name. But I'll just say Logan. Great guy. He's the one who actually baptized me. And when I showed up for my the night that I showed up to be baptized, I got baptized with someone else. There was two of us that got baptized. And he told me, I didn't think you were going to show up. Because they knew I did not want to be Mormon. But I wanted to be baptized underwater. I wanted an underwater baptism. I was Catholic and got that little... I didn't want oil on my head. I wanted to be baptized underneath the water. Because for me, it wasn't about the Mormon church. For me, it was about Jesus Christ. And just being baptized with Jesus Christ. Was the Jim Carrey movie that was strange. I tried to watch the OA and couldn't get through it. 23, that's the movie. 23. Jim Carrey was in 23. I didn't much care for it. I thought it was a stupid movie. But I liked Jim Carrey. And I like him now as he's doing his paintings and stuff like that. You know? It's funny how many people get involved and they become famous and then they just get disillusioned with the fame and they want to get away from all of it. You know, I've never seen Severance. I haven't seen Severance. The Majestic. The Majestic was a good Jim Carrey movie too. Kind of dumb, but a feel-good movie. I like feel-good movies. You know, I like movies where you come away and you feel good. Connie and Carla. That's a movie that probably hardly any of you have seen. I loved Connie and Carla. You know, I actually don't mind drag queen movies. As crazy as that sounds, I'm sure some of you don't much care for it, but I think that Hurricane Bianca is just a hoot. You know, listen to Jim Carrey's theory on Santa Claus. I would like to hear. Jim Carrey is someone I would actually like to go have dinner with and just have conversations with. You know, Stranger Than Fiction was a good movie. And I cry at movies. I sometimes watch movies just to cry. There are movies that I just like to cry. You know, I've heard of Melancholia. Well, Gov, stop putting movies and then saying, don't look it up. Because you know some of the people are in here are going to be like, oh, it's going to spur them to go look it up. Because you just said, don't look it up. There's a lot of people in here that we just don't do what we're told. We got tired of doing what we were told when we were kids. So now as adults, we do whatever the fuck we want to do. And sometimes we do whatever we want to spite the people who are trying to tell us not to do it. You know, I don't like to be controlled. Exactly. Don't press the shiny red button. You know, I love La Cage. La Cage. La Cage à Felle is that I'm not saying that because I can't speak French. And but then I liked The Birdcage too. With Nathan Lane but I loved. I thought The Birdcage was hilarious. I thought The Birdcage was hilarious, which is the American version of La Cage La Foles. La Foles, and I'm not saying that right. You know, I'm gonna have to watch Prestige. I'm gonna have to rewatch this thing. Unless Gov, you wanted to be really nice and actually, while we're still talking about, just type the movies that we're talking about, because there are some movies that I would really like. Predestination was a good movie. Isn't that the movie with Sandra Bullock? Predestination was a good movie. The Gift. The Gift was a good movie. That's another creepy movie. The Kinnear. I'm not even going to say anything because it'll give it away. I'm trying not to do any spoilers. But if you haven't seen The Gift, it's a good, I don't agree with channeling and card reading and all of that. Used to do it, was very good at it. Will have to say because of my faith now. I don't play with any of that shit. Just don't have any interest in it. But I don't know what is going on outside, and I'm not going to look either. The Congress. I've never seen that movie either. There are movies that are just coming up that I'm going to have to go check out. Hold on. Oh, that's sad. It's a utility truck that has something on the back and it has a flat tire. So he's having to go really slow because I think it's a wood chipper. Don't quote me on it, but I think that they're kind of scary. You know? Jacob's Ladder is an incredible. The first Jacob's Ladder with Tim Robbins, not the new Jacob's Ladder, but the old Jacob's Ladder. Oh my God, phenomenal movie. Another movie with Tim Robbins in it. He plays. It's a great movie. I can't. Give me a minute. I'll think about it. He was a dude who ends up killing a guy, and then someone terrorizes him because he knows. And it's all about Hollywood. Requiem for a Dream. I've never seen Requiem for a Dream. You know, I've never seen Requiem for a Dream. I've heard too much about it. And I am in a family full of addicts. And so I just couldn't watch it. But John Malkovich is a good movie. Do you know that John Malkovich, he was in this movie that I just saw about art dealers? The dude that was in Donnie Darko is in it too. It's a star-studded cast, and it's a scary movie because it's about an artist who dies, but he wanted all of his shit burned. But the woman, it's all about all of these just people you wouldn't like in real life, art people, and it's a scary movie. The City of Lost Children. I've heard of it. John Malkovich is a very good psychopath. Seven Heads in a Duffel Bag. That's a good movie. Another good movie is I should have gone through and actually wrote down movies because it's hard to remember the titles of all the movies. But he was in good. John Malkovich makes it great. He was actually a decent person in this movie. I can't even remember. It's on Netflix, or it was on Netflix. But it was a scary movie, but it was kind of a dumb scary movie. You know, like a dude gets pulled into a painting that has monkeys in it. And Burn After Watching was a good movie. I have seen that. So I'm on about an hour. If you guys want to continue doing this, I'm having an okay time. Hey, hey, Susan. This is a light. We're talking about movies. We've brought up some books. It's just an easy going. I did my intense one this morning. And so, I like Daniel Craig as James Bond. I liked Daniel Craig. I like Daniel Craig, period. I like Daniel Craig. I think he's a great guy. A good actor. I don't know who he is as a person, but Roger Moore is not too old school for me. You know, the Bond girls are. The Bond movies are fun, and I have to say that I like those movies with Mike Meyer. You know, the Austin Powers. I don't think those movies. You know, I think those movies are just hilarious. Okay, we're not talking about Israel. Now that I know that $457 billion that Smokey is talking about is directly connected to the what the U.S. has fed Israel, and so they were going to try and call me Sean Connery. Sean Connery is a great actor. Sean Connery is great, but they asked for sexy, you know, for sexy, and so I think that Daniel Craig is probably the best looking one. I like Connery. Pierce Bronson was, he was okay. Pierce Bronson, you know. I love the SNL version of Sean Connery on Jeopardy. I just got done watching a bunch of those. You know, the one about semen, and it was C man, but he misquotes everything, and it's always a sexual thing. I will say that the Saturday Night Live, the I didn't much care for the opening thing, but I really liked that news thing that they had. It was funny this time, but sometimes SNL, everything has become so surreal. Bronson, that's it. Pierce Bronson, that's it. Connery was a 2 minute man. Oh, well, that would suck for any woman who was with him. But now they're saying that Adolf Hitler, his testicles didn't drop and he had a micro penis, which explains a lot about World War II. Man was mad at God about his penis. Because if you think that little man syndrome is bad, just wait. I mean, little dick syndrome is way worse than little man, even though little men usually have little dicks. That's kind of what it works that way. Celebrity Jeopardy is hilarious. Someone Saturday Night Live is really a hit or miss sometimes. Is a hit or miss. The sad part about it is that the opening thing that they just did on Saturday was it was so close to reality that it almost wasn't funny because they're having a hard time making a parody over all the shit that's happening because it's so surreal that, you know, but Celebrity Jeopardy is hilarious. And the Sean Connery thing. South Park is South Park actually has gotten better. This is probably my favorite season. This is probably my favorite season. Because sometimes, again, it's a hit or miss. But this time, this season is one of the best seasons that they've ever had. You know? And it's so much more biting. It's just, I think that now that they've sold it for all that money, now they're just doing whatever they want to do. You know? It's hilarious. And it's scary how The Simpsons predict the future. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a I'm not a big fan of The Simpsons anyway, though. There are people outside. It's funny when I do these lives, I have the window open because it's hot up here. Because I have Lucy upstairs, so I have to have a heater up here for her. So I keep it 80, but 80 is too hot for me. So when I come into my studio, I open the window. I can hear people outside, but more than that, they can hear me. And you don't realize how many times I've done these lives and had people just stand outside my house listening to me. You know? What are you doing? What are you doing? Almost. Thank you for those kisses. I have a live audience. One is up here at my feet. Now I have one in my lap. Oh, thank you for those kisses. Oh, I get snuggles and lovings. I get snuggles and lovings. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. This is my black lab. This is my black lab. She is my lover. She is my alpha dog. She is the alpha. But I have one sitting at my feet right now. They're very sweet. Oh, yeah. Never judge me. See, Susan, the thing about it is when the people come, they just walk. Because I'm on a street where people walk. And so they just sit and listen. Because like this morning, I was yelling. I was really irritable this morning. When I did, and it's only 30 minutes. It was only 30 minutes. But that's why I wanted to come back on here. Because I don't like to do... Oh, that hat is making my head sweat because it's hot up here. So you guys are seeing my hair. Looks like crap today. It is too early, sweetie. There is no 5-second rule in my house. There's stuff floating in the air because I've seen it. It's. I have someone asking to talk. Okay, Gov. I should get off here. This has been fun. It's an hour. Just to let you guys know, this was like a nothing. This was just a fun one. I just wanted to come on here and actually talk about fun stuff. You know, I just wanted to talk about fun stuff and actually have a decent Sunday where we weren't talking about child trafficking and all of this miserable, nasty shit. You know? And they hate it when I say this, but anybody who wants to donate, they say broke is a joke, but it's not funny. And I'm broke. Bye, Susan. So, anybody who wants to donate, but don't feel like you have to, you know? I like people coming in here and actually talking, and it's not about... Once I get the artwork to the point where I can actually start selling stuff, then I won't be asking anybody for anything, but artwork takes a while to do. And lately I have not been... I will show you guys since this is just easy. Dang. This is what I'm working on right now. I think I showed this yesterday. This is the front part. This is the beginning of the manger. This is the beginning of the manger. But then this is what I say. I have to cut all of this out. And then you see this fabric piece that I have to sew on. And so I'm trying to do shit to get out of, you know, stuff, you know. and they make me feel bad about asking for donations, which I shouldn't feel bad about it, but you know, and I'm not lazy. I do all kinds of stuff all the time, and I do stuff for people all the time. I go out and help people all the time. No, it's a nativity scene, but it's gonna look like stained glass when I get finished. It's called reverse applique. It's reverse applique, and so when I finish it, it will be done, and it'll be done in the next couple weeks. It's just I haven't had time to be able to do stuff lately, and the stress has just been. That's why I broke down and blocked everyone. I blocked all of them. I don't get mentions anymore. If they send me emails, I block them. You know, I don't ever listen to the voicemails. Daniel Dodd just left me one, 2 days ago. I don't ever listen to it. I'll be selling bags, you know. Sherilyn can act like she's a victim, but I took her out to lunch twice. She's taken me out to lunch once. I made her grandmother a lap quilt, you know. I was in the process of making her a purse. It's finished, but she was trying to set me up. And so I don't want to give it to her anymore. So I guess I'm just going to sell it. You know, I blocked it. I just couldn't take anymore. That's why I was upset this morning because Thomas just bypasses it. He just does whatever the fuck he wants. And how he's doing it, I don't know how he's doing it. But I just keep blocking him, you know? These child traffickers just suck. They just suck. And they're so involved with so much more than child trafficking. There's all kinds. It's a whole criminal organization, you know? And they can say whatever they want. And they do all kinds of shit to me and then tell me that I'm whining because I talk about it. And so, fuck them. You know? They ain't gonna just do their shit to me and I'm just gonna, just take it quietly? Do I seem like I'm a quiet person? I'm really not. You know? And it's better to actually, because I know a lot of you out there are going through kind of the same shit. You know? Oh, this is Geo. I'm basically talking to nobody. But dickhead, I'm getting about 10,000 people a day on my blog. You know? Oh, they just play stupid fucking games. If you don't like it, go away. No one's holding a gun to your fucking head, dumbass. You know? They're not bots. I have a security system. I do get bots. They're not all bots. There's plenty of them. But this motherfucker who's coming in here anonymously knows all about my blog. Knows everything about everything. That's how they work. They know everything about everything, and they're just coming in to fuck shit up because it's a nice, mellow energy today, and they want to fuck that up. Because that's what they do. They're the fucking biggest pieces of shit. They don't want anyone to be happy because they're miserable motherfuckers, and most of them are fucking closet cases. You know? And that most especially goes to Geo. But again, Geo and Daniel Dowd, had you not bragged about murdering my friend Owen, I would have never even assumed that you did. The only reason why I've called you out for murdering Owen is because you bragged about it. You know? They're fucking miserable motherfuckers. You know that they think about me all day. And it's not pleasant thoughts. It's not pleasant. When they think about me, it doesn't bring joy into their life. And so then they have to come in here and actually just do this kind of shit. And fuck, who cares? You know? People like me when I go out and about. Bad teeth and all. People are really nice to me. But I have a tendency to engage people. You know? I like to listen to what people have to say. And I'm a pretty easygoing, relaxed kind of person. They think They want to present me as this angry individual, but I'm not angry. Who has the energy to be angry all the time? You know? Just don't have it. You know? They're never, yeah, they always have their eyes on everyone else's lane, but they're never on their own. And the thing about this is that this wasn't meant for a lot of people. I get more people when I'm talking about the nasty shit, the child trafficking and Isaac Cappy and them murdering Isaac Cappy and them murdering my friend Owen and all of the nasty shit. I do get a lot of people, but I didn't want to do that this afternoon. You know, I just wanted to have a laid back, let's talk. And again, it was Gov's suggestion that I come in and just do one about movies. You know, I'm too lazy to be angry all the time. Amen to that, Sarah. Who has the time to be angry all the time? Oh my God, it's exhausting. And when you're angry, what are you focused on? You know, I have too much shit going on. I can't do the artwork that I do and be angry all the time. How is that even conducive? You know, it's not. But now Smokey's running around trying to actually, oh, Gov is back, cool. If I make this a 3-hour one, then Thomas is going to accuse me of making it all about him. I did a 3-hour conversation about him. I have brought him up a couple times because he's just, you know, angry. I have shit to do and anger gets in the way. That's just it. You can't do shit when you're angry. I can't. You can't focus when you're angry. All you ever do is focus on what you're angry about. And fuck, who has time? You know? And all their stupid shit, they're always, fuck, you know? It's all stupid. It's all stupid. But they don't want me to do these lives. That's why they come in and say, oh, but I get people who actually watch the shit afterwards. That's what ends up happening. That's why I do these lives. If I do a normal video, I don't get hardly anybody. But when I do these lives, fuck, I can get 300 people eventually. I'm not viral by any means. I don't care about being viral. You know? I don't want to be, especially with the stuff that I deal with. I hate it when I go out and about and people tell me, oh, I know you. I've seen your videos. I hate that. Because it's a double-edged sword. You know? Sometimes it's not so pleasant. Because people don't want to hear about child traffickers. They don't want to hear about how the police in town are involved in a meth operation, even though everybody talks about it. You know, they don't want to know. And that's okay. Are you up here to bother me again? Licking lips. It's that time of night. And this one, when it comes to feeding, is like clockwork. It's amazing. And this daylight savings time has screwed her all up, so she's usually an hour early now. But she's licking her lips because she is telling me she's wasting away to nothing. She's just wasting away. If I don't do something soon, there won't be nothing left of her because she would just waste away. She's a pain in the butt. That's why they target on my kids. That's my kids. That's Freudian, but so true. That's why they focus on my dogs all the time. They threaten my dogs. They do stupid shit to my dogs. You know? And let me just point out, if they're willing to hurt my dogs, they're willing to hurt your kids. It just kind of works that way. She is starved. She's the whole reason why in my house there's no 5-second rule. If you drop something on the floor, kiss it goodbye, because it will be gone in a second. The time that it will take me to bend down and pick it up, she will have had it. And the only time that it doesn't happen is when I have to tell her no, because I don't like. There are times that I just don't want them to have any the stuff that I'm doing. Babe, they threaten my dogs. They target my dogs all the time. They tell me to go get a job while they're breaking into my house and telling me how they're gonna hurt my dogs. That's the fucking bullshit that they do. And they come into my lives and cause all kinds of problems. You know, so what? So I have only 9 people in here. So what? I don't do it, you know? Which is funny because on their thing, I think they have like 23 members, 23 followers. And they don't realize that some of the people who are following them are not following them for good reasons. They're following them because they're being investigated. And those people want to know what the fuck they're talking about. That's how it works. You know, that's how it works. And Smokey's an idiot. I'm just sorry. There's no way that dude made $457 billion as a drug dealer as a kid and nobody knew about it. The IRS didn't know about it. The police didn't know about it. And the dude is not like this mastermind criminal that he makes himself out to be. But I think that now that I realize that that number, because it was an oddly specific number, he's a fucking Nazi. It's all involved with the money from Israel, you know, which is what they were trying to do, is make me out to be an anti-Semite. So he was working with Sherilyn. That's the reason why it was pushed. Smokey was kind of pushed on me, you know. And yeah, I was nice to him. I'm nice to a lot of people. I mean, why be a dick? Until you try to fuck me. Once you try to screw me, I'm not so nice. You know? I'm not so nice then. Just works that way. But I think that works that way with a lot of us. She's back. Pretty soon you're going to see, because her butt is getting pushed up against the table. Because she is wasting away. There's nothing left of her. You cannot get on my lap while you're under the table. No, you'll knock the table over. No. All right, I'll finish it. You guys, I tell you what. He doesn't do math or read. And the fact that he's trying to tell people that he made $457 billion as a drug, it's so stupid. It defies words. That's the reason why I wouldn't have him on here, because Sherilyn was pushing me to have him on. So he could talk about how God changed him, how Jesus Christ changed him. But I didn't want him telling his stupid shit, because they were already trying to say that all of my supporters are crazy. Every one of you in here, they're going to say, are crazy. The movies that we talked about and the books and all of just the relax, you're all fucking crazy mental people, and you're all wanting to go attack them. Thomas is convinced that none of you have anything better to do. You're going to go attack him. Of course, nobody even knows where he lives. And even if you did, would you do anything? No, because you guys have lives. I have a life. You know? We're not obsessed with them like they are with me. You know? No one's as obsessed with them. I think that's the problem, because fuck. Daniel Dowd is just pining for my attentions, from what I understand. I asked people who did listen to that voicemail, was it anything I need to know? No, it's just bizarro shit. Bizarro. So I didn't even bother to listen to it, but then I never do. They can talk about all this shit all they want. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Smokey's out there telling people that he made $457 billion as a drug dealer as a kid and never got found out. If that's who you want to follow, more power to you. You know, more power to you. Sherilyn is involved with the Family group. It was all a fucking setup. They were all trying to set me out. That's how it worked. And, you know, right. We're all a little bit crazy. I'm a little bit crazy. People have asked me before, do I have multiple personalities? And I tell everybody all the time, nope, I have one personality, and that personality is generally a dickhead. I can be quite the asshole. I have a mouth on me. I hope you're all sitting down because I'm sure that comes as a shock, you know, that I have a mouth on me and talk, you know. But, oh well, you know, if you don't like what I'm saying, then go away, you know. I'm not begging anybody to stay. That's what I tell them all the time. I, you know, if you like what you hear, stick around. But if you don't, go someplace else. No one's putting a gun to your head. You know, I'm not a ginger. I do have, as I've gotten older, my hair has gotten more and more red, as you can see, because the sun is hitting it. But that's the Irish in me. My mom was 100% Irish. Mom was Irish, dad was German. But the older I get, the more definitely a strawberry blonde. And as I get older, I'm a strawberry blonde, except for my temples. And from what I understand, my temples are. My grandfather had silver hair. He didn't have gray hair, he had silver hair. And now I'm starting to get silver hair in my temples. And my goatee has always been white. When I was 20, my goatee was white. You know? And this is probably too much information, but my pubes are strawberry blonde too. You know? I'm kind of strawberry blonde everywhere. I wouldn't call myself a ginger though. Aren't gingers like red hair? I think people with red hair, it's beautiful. I love red hair. I would never dye my hair. I'm just, I always tell people I'm just not gay enough to dye my hair. And I'm gay. So it's funny when I say that, people always laugh. But there are just some things that, even as a gay guy, I won't do, I won't wear. It's not that I have a problem with my masculinity or anything like that. But I just, you know, gingers or red hair. There are a lot of people who don't like gingers. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. But then not liking someone because they're ginger would probably be like some Sordid Wedding. I just watched Sordid Wedding, another movie that's funny. Again, there's gay characters in it, so if you're uncomfortable with the whole gay thing, but Sordid Wedding is hilarious. And there's a woman that writes down because all of the things change, and so it's just a funny movie. If you watch it, you'll get what I'm saying. Well, this has been an hour and a half, and it's that time. I need to go because I'm gonna get a visitor back up here. Chances are she's sitting down there by her food bowl, waiting for it to be filled. You know? Oh, I can't dye my hair. The only time that I've ever dyed my hair, I dyed my hair once when I was in high school. The only reason I dyed my hair is because I peroxided my hair because I thought, oh, that's how you get that fun look. No. When you put peroxide in your hair and you go out in the sun, your hair turns yellow. I didn't realize that when I was a kid. And then, so I dyed my hair. I don't know what I did, but it was black with sparkly stuff. I had to wash my hair like 20 times to get the stuff out. And I think I was 15 when I did that. The only other time is when I was Rocky in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I was the monster. They made me dye my hair that platinum blonde. So for a month I had my hair platinum blonde, and the minute the show was over, because it was the only play I've ever been in as an adult. In high school I was in plays, but I don't act anymore. And but I was working out in the gym 3 hours a day And so, of course, they wanted me as the monster. Because for a long time, I was really built. And so I had my hair dyed platinum blonde. You do not know how many evil looks I got from people that whole month that I had my hair platinum blonde. And with the day after the play was over, I went and had my head shaved because I didn't want any blonde anymore. So I had my head shaved less than a quarter of an inch from my skull. I just, I hated it. And so I just don't dye my hair. I just don't dye my hair. And it's funny because I don't seem to get along with women who do that peroxide shit to their hair. That bleach blonde look. The women who do their bleach, other than my friend Doris, she was an old Southern woman. I loved her. She was wonderful. But most women who have that weird platinum blonde, like they wouldn't like me at Mar-a-Lago because all the women have that weird fake ass. Their hair looks like straw, and those women never like me. I don't know what it is. I always laugh and tell people I think the peroxide is eating their brain. That's why they don't like me. But I don't know. It's just. But let's be real. You know, I can be quite the handful. I can be quite. I'm one of those people that you either really like or you really don't like. That's just kind of the way I am. Always been. I'm too old now to change. You know, wouldn't know how to do it anyway. Don't know how to. Never been popular. Never been popular. Don't even know what it's like. Never been popular. But that's because I'm fat and I'm old and I'm ugly and I'm poor and I'm disabled and I'm gay, you know? That's why I don't run around thinking I'm better than everybody else because are you kidding me? Just but I'm okay with that. We all have our crosses to bear. And at least I was born smart, you know? And I'm not bragging or anything like that. I'm just stating the fact. I know I'm not an idiot. And I like to hang with smart people. I like to be the dumbest person in the room. That's what I like. Because I like to listen to smart people talk. I like to get new ideas. Gov will tell you he uses words all the time, and I stop him. Okay, what's that word? What does it mean? I don't have any problems asking questions. I don't need to know it all. I don't know it all. And I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. But you ain't going to actually get me to think I'm wrong just because your opinion doesn't like what I have to say. Just saying. You know? So, anybody who wants to donate, I didn't put anything in there. PayPal and Venmo are just at D Shurter. Like and subscribe. I can hear Govs in my thing. Comment. If you guys have some movies we haven't talked about and you have movies that you think I might want to see, tell me about them. I like to watch movies, you know. Tonight's going to be a popcorn night because there's not going to, I don't. Wisdom comes from the burden of truth. Smart people are really smart. It can be a double-edged sword, Sarah. The unfortunate thing about it is that a lot of times really smart people are also really manipulative. And so you have to be careful with them because they're used to being able to bulldoze over people because they're smart, you know? But there are plenty of people out there who are smart, who have compassion and are good people. I know I've been blessed to know a lot of them. I've known a lot of people like that. You know, the world is not all bad. It's not evil. You know, with that said, I should pray. I didn't pray this morning. And so if I'm going to end this, maybe prayer would probably be a good thing. You know, unfortunately, you're going to have to look at my shitty hair because that hat is making my head hot and it makes my head itch. Usually it doesn't. It's not like I have lice or anything. But I took a bath this morning in really hot water, so my hair is probably, my head is probably, I know the rest of my skin is. It's not red like it was this morning. Father, we come to you and thank you. This has been a really nice live this afternoon. Really laid back. It's been a lot of fun. I've gotten a lot of really super cool movie titles. I won't probably remember half of them, but interesting to watch. You know, I hope that people watch this and just realize that I kind of want to start directing. I want to do a laid back one at least once a week. The fact that they're trying to make me out to be this angry person all the time is not who I am at all. But people only see these videos. And so I was thinking about it and thought, I've watched movies, I was thinking about it and thought, I watch movies all the time. I don't know who those people are, you know? I don't know who any of those people are. Just because I watch their movies, people watch me on these videos. Talking about child killers is irritating. So I get irritated. But if you're not going to talk about child killers and we're just going to talk about just normal stuff, I love that. And this has been a fun experience. I've been really enjoyed this afternoon. I'm really glad I came on. I thank you for my friendship with Gov because he's the one who actually gave me this idea. Even though it's been a stressful morning. Getting into a fucking argument with Fiona this morning was just not what I needed. But you sent your son, our brother, Jesus Christ, down to teach us about the word, and I'm grateful. It saved me. His teachings are infallible, and I'm grateful. And I say these things lovingly in your son, our brother's name, lovingly and gratefully. Your son, our brother, Jesus Christ. All glory goes to him. All glory goes to you. And it's in your son's name we pray. Amen. I have great hair. Thank you. It wasn't so great. I hadn't gotten a haircut in years. But like I said, one morning I woke up and I was in the shower and it was all in a knotted mess and I was so mad at it. And the sad part about it is I was so freaking stupid when I did it. I had all of my hair like this. So I just grabbed it and cut it. And it was all on one side. So then when I dried my hair, I realized that this was really short, but this was down to here. I looked so dumb. So I had to hack that off. That's the only reason why I went and got a haircut. And usually when you go get a haircut, I don't know what it's like other places, but around in Omaha, a guy can spend $40 or $50 on a haircut, and I didn't have $40 or $50. But I had just gotten paid. It was the third because I'm on disability, and I had to go into town in Omaha. And my haircut was only $26 from Walmart. And when I went in there, like I said, I was going to have them shave my head. But the three women that were in there threw a fit and talked me right out of it. And so she evened out my hair, so now it's even again. Babe, I was just all irritated with my hair that day. It had gotten in my mouth that night, the night before when I was sleeping. And then it was in a knot when I went to go take a shower, and I was just... Babe, I kind of like it. So I cut my own. I would never trust a new one with my hair. See, I have long hair, but I don't have long hair because I'm a hippie. I don't have long hair. I'm going to show you guys something that I didn't even realize until I got security cameras on the outside. And then I was looking at those security cameras and I was just like, who the fuck is that bald headed dude? Because I don't ever see the back of my head. The reason why I have long hair is because I don't like to wear hats all the time. So pulling it up means that this bald spot that I have on the back of my head doesn't get burned. Because I have the monk's back. I have a big bald spot on the back. Never realized it. Not until I got security cameras and I was looking at them because I'd been outside. I don't ever see the back of my head. Just like most of you guys, I bet. I mean, the scapegoat, you probably see the back of your hair because you cut your hair. But I don't cut my hair, so I never realized. But I have more hair than any other male member of my family. Even my nephews. They lost their hair in their 20s. You know? Yeah, it's just barely strawberry blonde. When I was a kid, I had blonde hair. Hey, Gov. Back and forth. I got to get off here because I know my lab is going to be back up here. I bet she's irritated with me. Okay. But this has been a lot of fun. You missed the prayer, Gov. Like and subscribe if you want to donate. Food is scarce. I went to the pantry last week, but didn't get a whole lot because everyone is using the pantry right now. You know, like and subscribe. If you have movies that we didn't mention that you think are worth watching, leave them in the comments. You know, leave them in the comments. A book that you think I might like, even though I'm trying to get through a book right now, but you met David Wolf. I can't do a cleanse right now. I just, with the stress level that I'm under, because they don't ever leave me alone, and they break into my house all the time. And they think I'm just supposed to take everything quietly. But as you guys can see, can't see it, but it's my nativity scene. That's really bright. And then I have these old buildings that I have 3 buildings that they're buildings. Ready Player One of my favorite movies. One of my favorite movies. I've never watched Her. Idiocracy just is depressing, but the dude that plays in Idiocracy, I really like him. He's just a really nice guy. He's really just laid back. The other dude that I like is also the one that's in the new Ghostbusters movies. He's Jewish. I know if Thomas was here, he'd be all upset. But I love Jewish people. I know that's, do I like what's happening in Gaza? No. But the thing about Jewish people is they're very well educated because it's part of the culture. The Jewish culture is educated. And so, Wilson brother, he's a Wilson brother. He is. I really like him. He's just a good guy. Really laid back, plays all these laid back, just really nice guy roles. Same with Jesuits. Very educated. Yeah, exactly. Very educated. I like educated people. Don't always agree with them, but that's half of the fun. You learn a lot more with people that you don't agree with than. Is source code the one that the dude was basically in a comatose state. The older version of the dude who was in Donnie Darko, Source Code. I didn't much care for that movie. I've only watched it once though, but it was kind of bizarre, and it is nearly 2026. Christmas will be here soon, and then New Year's. My birthday is December 6th. This is always a bad time. Like I said, I'm getting another visitor. She's coming to tell me that she is starving. Come here. She's telling me that she's hungry and she is wasting away to nothing. Thank you for those kisses. Oh, thank you for those kisses. The snuggles. You can tell she's just wasting away to nothing. Another 5 minutes, there won't be nothing left of her. There won't be nothing left. She is desperate. She is desperate. She needs to eat right now. She needs to eat. Oh, and now I have another one in here. They love that eat word. Well, this has been a lot of fun, guys. It is that time. And I don't think that I'm going to get any more leeway. I think they're going to drive me crazy until I do what they want me to do. I will tell you that if anybody donates, one of the things I am going to do is I have to go buy treats. I haven't bought treats. Time has sped up. Time has sped up. The planet's moving faster. Even though our core has stopped moving. It's crazy. Okay, I gotta get off here. They're not gonna leave me alone. It's getting dark, and what they're afraid of is I might go to bed, because I do that sometimes. Sometimes I fall asleep at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then they don't get dinner. And they're terrified that might happen. I will talk to you guys soon. My day is almost over. It's almost 5 o'clock here. But this was fun. Great idea, Gov. Great idea. Thank you. You know, Sarah had the great idea when she wanted me to pray. Oh, you know, about her art thing. That was inspired. You guys inspire me. I really like that. You know, you bring out a better part of me. A lot of times, if I allow it. Now, when I'm screaming and yelling about the fucking child killers, not so much, because I'm caught in my own little irritation bubble. But otherwise, you guys are great. That's why I wanted to come in here, because I got exactly what I was looking for this afternoon. It's been a wonderful, wonderful time. But it's almost 2 hours, and can you imagine actually? And I just reconnected, so God only knows what you guys didn't get, you know? We all have bubbles. Movies. Thank you, guys. This has been just a blast today. Just a blast. Better way to end the day than how it began. Just saying. Even though I'm not going to post this one on my blog. This one was just for fun. I want to start doing some that are just for fun. You know, I think we all need that. I think that life is too stressful as it is. Why would you want to come in here and I'll be all stressed out? Nobody wants to come in here and listen to me yell all the time. I don't want to listen to me yell all the time. So if I don't want to hear myself yell, I know none of you guys want to hear me yell. But sometimes, this morning I was pissed off. I was pissed off. Well, I got into a fight at 4 o'clock this morning. You know, fucking irritated. Narcissistic people are so hard to deal with sometimes. I'm sure I am when I'm being narcissistic. And we all have those times where we can be narcissistic, especially in America. And so I won't be teaching any classes on how to walk on water anytime soon. Just saying. I'm hoping you're all sitting down because I'm sure that comes as a shock and you're probably going to faint. But I won't be teaching classes, you know? But this has been fun. This has been fun, you know? And yeah, I only have 7 people, but you want to know what? I like that better than when they're feeding my fucking channel bots and I have 1,000 people in here at once because they're not real, you know? And the child killers don't like these ones. They don't like to come in here when I'm doing these. It's not any fun. And they look like a buzzkill when they come in. Nobody likes a buzzkill. Just saying. And let me tell you, I think in so many ways in all of their lives, they're definitely a buzzkill. So, with that said, thanks, guys.